Training your assistant to support the physical classroom environment is so important. Maintaining that environment is a really big job, and you are going to need help. The first bit of help that an assistant can offer is in material repair. Things get used and things are going to get broken. Chains are going to need to be mended. Knobs are going to need to be re-glued back onto the maps or the cylinder blocks. Maybe some touch-up paint needs to be applied to some sensorial materials. This happens. Our materials can become well-loved over time. Material making is another help. You need to show your assistant how you like materials made. For me, language materials were most important. We went through a lot of them. So having my assistant know what to do and how to make those 3-part nomenclature cards was really important. Then how I liked them laminated and how I liked them cut. This freed up a lot of my time, and it always made sure we had a fresh supply of language materials on the shelf. Then there's managing consumables. We go through so many consumables in the classroom. These would be, let's say, polish, rice and grains for pouring, sponges for those practical life works, paint, papers, the little slips that we use for the language exercises, metal inset paper, pencils and colored pencils. There's a lot of inventory to manage and keep track of. If you can create a list of what your assistant should be checking for, and then they can let you know when it's something you need to buy, and then they know if it's something that they can make, like cutting metal inset paper or those language strips. Then there's dusting and deep cleaning. The deep cleaning, consider doing with your assistant. It's a good time to bond and do that kind of work together. The light dusting, yes, children participate in, but it's not great. It's helpful if you can get your classroom assistant in the habit of dusting like 3 shelves every afternoon, so the entire classroom ends up being dusted by the end of the week. Checking materials is something else that can be very helpful, especially at the beginning of the day, making sure that the pitchers are filled, that the sponges are wet, the papers are replenished, that everything is fully stocked. Then once a week, checking the actual materials for completeness. So I had to let my assistant know how many spindles there were supposed to be, how many multiplication beads, how many division beads. Then let them know where to find the replacements so they can keep this up. The playground is another area where some help can be very nice. Scanning the playground to make sure that there aren't any toys left out, looking in the sandbox, making sure that that is free of toys and then covered up at the end of the day. Staying organized is really important when it comes to this job. There's a lot to do as far as taking care of the prepared environment. And it's helpful if you can make a little to-do list at the beginning. The items that need to be taken care of in the morning, the items that should be taken care of in the afternoon. For example, sharpening pencils is not something that we would do in the morning because it's disruptive. So making a list of those things, filling the pitchers, checking the sponges, making sure there's plenty of yarn for the sewing, all of these little things to check off really will help make a habit, and then your assistant won't need the list anymore. Great activities for the afternoon are cutting paper because it is a little noisy, or sharpening those pencils, scanning the shelves, making sure everything is straightened before everyone leaves at the end of the day. Your routines and procedures are unique to your classroom, and sometimes they can be involved. And unless you are explicitly training the other adults in the classroom, they're not going to know what to do or how to help. They need to know how to set up the lunch or help the children set up the lunch and put it away. How does the morning arrival work and how does the dismissal work? Think through all of those little routines and procedures you have throughout the day, list them out, and then really talk about each one so that that other person understands. Because when they don't, that's when things start to fall apart, the noise level goes up, and then confusion seems to take over. Now, if you flip this around, you may be the new person in an established classroom with an assistant that's been there for quite a long time. If this is the case, talk to that other adult about these routines and procedures. They're going to know what's already worked and what may not have worked. You can use the similar routines and procedures for this class for consistency, or you can try something new. It's up to you. But having an open conversation with the adult that's already been there creates a lot of trust, and it helps them to feel like a valued partner in this new relationship.